dear students, welcome to your Geography's online class. So in today's class, we will be dealing with a new chapter, that is insolation. This is the second chapter of the topic atmosphere. And in this chapter, we will try to learn about what insolation is and the factors that affects the insolation received in a place, as well as the factors that affects the temperature of a place. So before we discuss about the factors, let us first talk about insolation that is received by the Earth's surface. In this, let us try to understand with the help of this diagram. See, this is our Earth and this the Sun. We are almost 150 kilometers away from the Sun. That means, so to say, we are at an optimum distance from the Sun, being placed at the third position in respect to the distance from the Sun. We on Earth receive a very adequate amount of heat, or you can say temperature, which is very helpful for life to sustain on this planet. In fact, we can say that the distance between the Sun and the Earth is also one of the factors for survival of life. So when we talk about the Sun, it's a hot and a glowing object which gives out heat. The rays of the Sun that spreads in the entire part of the solar system reaches the Earth's surface. Now the heat that comes out of the Sun, when it reaches the Earth's surface, that means when the Earth receives it, we call this as insolation. In other words, we can say insolation as the heat energy received by the Earth from the Sun. While the heat emitted out of the Sun, or the Sun gives out its heat energy, and that form of energy is known as radiation. So it is very important for us to understand the difference between radiation and insolation. Radiation is the heat energy given out, or you can say emitted from the Sun, while insolation is the heat energy received by the Earth from the Sun. While this heat energy is being emitted out from the Sun, the entire part of the globe, in fact, you can say the entire part of the Earth does not receive the same amount of heat. It is because of the position of the Sun in respect to the latitudinal lines on the Earth's surface. The heat received is different. For example, you can say that since the movement of the Sun is between the tropics, that is Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, hence they are the region which receives very good amount of heat throughout the year. While in the polar areas, the heat received is less because the polar region happens to receive the slanted rays of the Sun. So that is why the heat transmitted out of the Sun when reaches the Earth's surface is not evenly distributed everywhere. Now this amount of heat that comes out, radiation and insolation, it heats the atmosphere of the Earth, and thereby it finally hits the Earth. It first enters through the atmosphere of the Earth and then reaches the Earth's surface. It is also very important for us to understand that it is only the Sun that is the source of heat and light for the Earth. So, whatever amount of temperature that rises on the Earth is because of the heat energy that is radiated from the sun. Now as this heat energy reaches the earth's surface, we can see this form of radiation. It is known as short wave. Is known as short wave radiation. Well, this very short wave radiation, when reaches the earth's surface, it in turn hits the earth's surface, and again the heat rises from the earth's surface back to the atmosphere, and this is known as long wave radiation. The long wave radiations are also known as terrestrial radiation or infrared rays, while the short wave radiations are the ultraviolet rays that reaches the earth's surface. Though it's harmful, but we are very well protected by the earth's atmosphere. Now, with the heat received by the earth from the sun, there are three such different processes that helps in heating the earth's atmosphere. One is convection. Second is conduction, and third it is radiation. There is also the fourth way of heating the earth's atmosphere, or you can say the fourth process of heating the earth's atmosphere, that is known as advection, but it's mostly carried out by the winds. But here we are trying to understand how the atmosphere gets heated through different processes: convection, conduction, and radiation. With convection, what happens is, as like you see this long wave radiations, you see, or the long waves, this has first heated the earth atmosphere or the earth, and then the air very close to the earth's surface gets heated, and when heated, it starts rising higher. As it starts rising higher to the layers it reaches, it slowly starts hitting the layer after layer. That means there is a vertical transfer of heat from the lower region to the higher region, and this process is known as convection. While the process of conduction is, here we see the lower layers of the atmosphere. This is very close, or it is intact with the earth's surface. Now once the earth's surface heats, after heating, it liberates the heat back to the space, or you can say to atmosphere. So this heat that is liberated, or the immediate layer of atmosphere to the earth's surface, it slowly starts getting heated because of the heat of the earth's surface. And this process is known as conduction. While radiation is that we can see the heat emitted out from any object which has a higher temperature results in heating of the nearby areas or the region, and this is known as the process of radiation. So these are the three processes that helps in heating the earth's atmosphere. Now, since we know that the earth is composed of land and water, and wherein the water bodies are more than the land surfaces. In fact, we even say that the earth is known as the watery planet because it is covered by almost 75%. That is, the 3/4 part of the earth is covered by water. Now this water and land does not heat at the same time. The specific heat required for heating water is more than that of land. So we can say that land heats slower. In fact, land heats and cools faster than water. So this is about the heating of land and water. So we can state that there is an unequal heating of land and water, as because land, it heats and cools much faster than the water bodies. This is due to the low specific heat required. So this is for the class today about insolation and radiation, and then the three processes that are involved in heating of the Earth's atmosphere. Thank you, class. You all stay safe and take care.